Hi, I'm Bex Forth from the Austin Torch. I played last year and I'm also playing this year, and I'm excited to provide some commentary on our game from last year with the Atlanta Soul.
This is Angela Lynn from Atlanta Soul. This is exciting. I haven't done this commentating thing in a little bit. I think this will be fun, kind of just like watching this game with you, Bex.
When was the last time you watched this game through? Because I don't think I've watched it through since last season.
I haven't either. I think maybe I watched it once or twice after the fact, and like definitely a lot of clips of it. We're seeing a little bit of physicality here on the defending on Paula Seville's side here. So I haven't watched this since shortly after this game actually took place.
So before we start actually remembering the game through our eyes, how do you remember it as a game just from your emotions?
I think there were a lot of emotions. It was so exciting to be out there in the sun with all the fans and being lined up, at the beginning of the game. It was a really competitive, really spirited game. I think we were just all excited to be there and be doing it. And, there were so many crazy kind of like ups and downs towards the end of the game, that we'll get to. But yeah, even with that stuff and how the outcome turned out, we were super excited to be there and to be creating this kind of event. So I don't know, what were your feelings?
Well, I think I was obviously from the games that we played through the season, you had that feeling of this is just an incredible experience. It's a really good thing for women's ultimate. You had all those feelings of pride that we're out there actually doing it for sure. But this game in particular, it was so competitive. In the very best sense, wasn't it? I mean, it was hard fought. Every point, everyone was putting in every effort. That's what I remember from it. And then the score obviously showed that at the end, but
right.
It was a sink your teeth into it kind of game.
Yeah, I think, we did a lot of prep leading up because we were, we knew that you would try to move the disc fast and you were going to have good handler movement, and obviously we're going to send it deep a bunch, so we had to sort of the season felt pretty short. I mean, it was. So we had to kind of get all of our people kind of together and coalesce and work on end zone and work on some junks. So I don't know, it was exciting to be working together on such a tight time frame too, trying to prepare for this event and prepare for y'all as a
absolutely
awesome team, with all these skills. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I think we were, we did a lot of focus on how can we kind of slow y'all down with some different junk looks and slightly different, whether it be flat and force middle or, there's me getting scored on. Awesome. And just trying to contain y'all, I think. So, what were some of the kind of prep things that y'all thought about, sort of practices leading up?
Well, we definitely thought about your handler movements, because we knew how strong you were, and you have teams who rely on 2 or 3 players to do those resets, and you seem to have 4, 5, 6 players who all work extremely well together. So I think that's what we were working on, trying to stifle the handler movement, but we weren't overly successful because the handlers were just so good.
Yeah, you see some of that there with
absolutely
little give goes that then turn into bigger give goes. So yeah, good, and then strikes downfield. So
right.
I mean, I feel similarly. I think we knew you were going to try to do some things like that too, and keep kind of pushing us in terms of pace. So that was definitely something that we focused on as well.
I think the handler patterns throughout the game was one of the things I think we were learning through each quarter. And I think in the first 2 quarters we really couldn't get much on it. as a team, we couldn't slow it very far down at all. But then as the third and fourth quarter, and maybe when people were getting a bit more tired, I think we were just starting to predict the patterns a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. I think from what I remember kind of like debriefing afterwards, I think you also did some adjustments to sort of like be a little bit saggy off of our handlers.
Absolutely, because we weren't getting any purchase on it.
Hasn't quite happened yet, but I think it's coming soon where we see a little bit more of that to kind of.
Well, currently this is our O-line is on at the moment.
I gotcha.
So they didn't tend to do too many of the different style Ds.
Yeah.
That was a great catch.
Cat Yost, super fast. Really great cross field throw there from Sam Stovall. I remember that moment. There's so many little moments, so many great little plays, and just like, I don't know, kind of like rapport with the teams too, just kind of talking on the sidelines. It was just like, it was so fun, I think.
It really was. No, that's a great matchup.
Watching it's like,
those two players, because at least Frankie's one of our fastest players, and you can see the two of them were battling.
Yost is definitely one of our fastest players, so yeah, that's fun.
She had a great game in Columbia this last weekend.
Yeah.
She played really well.
And here y'all are off to the races, and we're just all kind of trailing behind there, so...
There is an adjustment, because it's 80 yards, isn't it, rather than the smaller 70.
Yeah.
So it did feel like you had to keep on working to get the disc further down the field, a bit further. I don't remember much wind that night, do you?
No, I don't think so. It was pretty still.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of sun earlier, and I don't...
Oh, that's right.
I think that was... Yeah, so it was kind of an interesting time of like sort of switching between lots of sun to then it became a night game, so that was also...
You're now bringing that totally back into my memory. It was dazzling.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I'd forgotten that.
Ooh.
That was a great grab.
Yeah.
So have you got most of your team returning for this year?
A lot of it. There's definitely a few players who didn't make it back. I have a couple of people who have injuries from last year's club season. Emily Lloyd and Mira Walker are not back due to injury. Lily is off doing a lot of things with work and abroad. I think Paige is not number 3 on the mark there. Didn't make it back. I can't remember what's going on with her, but we definitely miss all those players. We got lots of new stars out though too. So it's exciting. We definitely have returners, and a good base of returning folks, but also some really fun new additions. So I'm excited to get to play with the new additions this coming weekend.
So our O team has turned it over, unfortunately, with a break, and you guys are showing those resets.
Yeah.
Really confident resets.
Yep. Nice breaks around for that score.
Yeah, really good spectator ultimate, actually. It's fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the video, it looks like there isn't very many spectators because the cameras are facing the opposite direction to the crowd, but it was absolutely packed. And the crowd were in the third and fourth and the overtime, they were on their feet for the majority of it at the end there. Beautiful give and goes. I was just about to say that your team had done a really good job of creating a sharp angle with the throws, but that one went just a little bit too far.
Yeah, I think, I think one of the things that your team's really great at is kind of creating space with fakes and creating space with like different kinds of break looks. It's like that, for example, that little inside break or just like downfielders making, and that's just spectacular. Nice inside deep shot.
So a lot of the players on the Torch have come from Showdown, and Showdown definitely have a very fast running long game. So that definitely has been the history that's come from Texas and Austin. And we don't usually have very much wind to play in, so we end up playing most of the time in completely still conditions. Oh, that was some bad D for me. That's one of the things when you watch yourself and you see the error. Paula Seville did a brilliant juke and sent me the other way.
Yeah, Paula is pretty powerful. Pretty powerful there. It's tough to guard her.
I love seeing players who have craft. You know, you have fast players and you have great throwers, but there's some players who just really have a strong ultimate craft, and I think she's got that. So Dre's
a nice give go that we switched on. We worked on that a bunch, kind of leading up to as a method to try to stop y'all's give goes. So that was a nice example of that. Yeah, it's fun to be sort of like reliving this game again. It's like, oh yeah, there were these things that we did and worked on. There were these things that they crushed us with. Like, man.
You and I will be the best prepared for the weekend, won't we? Like, I remember exactly what they do. Watch the whole game.
Yeah. We're here in quarter 3, and this has got to be getting sort of close to the end of quarter 3, right? I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, and of course you had the buzzer beaters on every quarter, which will be different to this year. This year the buzzer beater is only on the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did actually like being on the field.
Big giant space there, and that's cool.
I did like being on the field just as the time was coming down when you had 10 seconds. Actually, that was the end because I can see the clock on the stadium.
Buzzer beater, yeah.
So that must have been a buzzer beater.
Yep.
So that was a really good shot.
Yeah, they are really exciting, and I think we had quite a few that were really exciting, and I think that this year we were very concerned with possible safety issues. So I think it'll be interesting this year to see how the kind of ending the quarter with possession works, and then also still having that buzzer beater for the final quarter as well as the first overtime. So
we're now in the fourth quarter with that Atlanta up by 1.
15-14. Hey!
So that was the Mac
I remember
catch.
That was, yeah, India there is, what are you going to do there? Gotta catch our Ds.
Oh. That's what everyone on the team's thinking, isn't it?
Second effort there, that was great. Great awareness there. Knowing
that's like your textbook
play on that.
It's like your textbook teaching point, isn't it, for younger players?
Yeah.
There seemed to be a lot of moments like that in this game.
Yeah.
That always seem to tie up the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there were also a lot of great kind of plays like that, like deep shots that were really well defended, and maybe possibly bad decisions based on how far the offense was already down the field. But here we are trying to slow down your movement a bit and keep you throwing a lot of passes, and y'all working through it.
So Dre, number 5, with the disc at the moment, she was one of the founders of the Austin Torch. Played a very strong role in this game. We won't spoil the ending.
For sure.
But there's certainly a play named after her.
Yeah. That was great catch and great, feet, just keeping those feet in. It's awesome.
I think one of the things that you can see here is that the D is really good, and it's forcing everyone to actually make really great plays, and so the quality is very high. And that's how I remembered. I just remember it being just a really tough, great game.
Yeah, me too. It was like a kind of long duration of both teams just kind of, physically giving everything, and playing really great D and, making plays. And it was really quite a thing to be a part of. It was
absolutely
really fun.
And you can see even on that one.
Watch both teams sort of just push each other and get kind of better throughout the game. Yeah,
and you can see the accuracy of the throwing is having to go to the side that the defender isn't, because the defenders are right there and so are well positioned.
There's a call here.
Felt like I was running after Paula all game, actually. Who were you marking most of the time, Angela? Or being marked by?
I don't really recall. I think I was on Katie a couple times, for sure.
Do you have O and D lines, or do you get more mixed up?
I think, as I recall, our subbing was out of pods. It was like SOUL pods.
Yeah.
And some of them were geared more towards defense. I was on a more defensive pod. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Remember now who I was mostly covering.
So this is the torch. We were definitely in O and D lines, and this is our O line.
Yeah, okay.
At the moment,
pretty strict O and D.
It was pretty strict. We had a few floaters, but it was, it was pretty strict. And for this game, because it was
for this year as well.
Not necessarily. No, it's going to be different. But on this game, because we were trading anyway, it slotted in quite nicely.
Yeah, right.
I think that's when O and D lines work okay. It's when it's lopsided, it doesn't work so well.
I think one of the interesting, fun things about these games in terms of subbing strategy is the timeouts. So I'm not sure if we've had an instance of that show up on the video so far, but just having a D team generate a block and then subbing your entire O team in after that, so it's a really kind of fun.
That's quite American football, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit nuanced strategy in terms of when to call timeouts. Can you get the disc back because your thrower looks like they're in distress? Things like that I think were fun to play with.
Yeah, be interesting to see how many times people use that.
Right. And
definitely
I think we definitely tried to use it some, and I think that put our more O players in the game. I mean, there were just a lot of O points too, so this is our more O line, and they're putting it in, but it's a lot of work. And I think, towards the end of the game, they definitely were getting fatigued.
Yeah. I mean, it was a long game, wasn't it? Total. I mean,
yeah.
It was hours. Yeah. I can't even remember how long it was.
Given that it goes into overtime a little bit, it ended up being quite a bit longer than the regulation. So, yeah, here we are at 17-17. We're still trucking along here, keeping the game close and.
So it doesn't look like either of us are playing too differently. It looks like Showdown is still trying to do fast, give goes style play, and it still looks like Assault still being very successful with their handler weaves, moving to streaking cutters. I think it was too still for any kind of real zone looks.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I think. So
Laura Landers, who just scored, she is not returning. She won't be playing in this next game, which is a shame. She's just started med school, so she's quite busy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, did y'all lose many?
No, not too many.
Returners?
Not too many. We've got. I would say at least 2/3 will be returning. Maybe more than that. Probably only about turnover about 5 or 6 players. That was a quick one.
Yeah, that's Mira getting fired up there. Yeah, Mira getting fired up after a big run. Nice deep score from Mo McCamley. I think I remember this moment thinking, oh, which one of them is gonna actually go catch this? They both got mad.
Yeah, she had really good closing speed, didn't she?
Yeah.
We're sort of looking at each team is looking at each other like, who's going to break first? Who's the one that's going to provide the opportunity? Because everything's looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I think, I remember thinking, okay, like, what's going to be the way we're going to generate this defensive play so we can get a chance. I think there was a lot of that thought in my mind. I think it's like, it's tough. Like sometimes that like makes it hard to actually make that happen. I think mentally it's sort of like,
that's exactly what we were
focusing
thinking
so much on. Yeah,
it was the same.
And this
thoughts.
is me missing a chance to get a layout block there.
Oh, you could have had that. I'm glad you didn't. That was really close. Sometimes you just don't see it early enough, do you?
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's just like a turn, and it was like I needed to turn and dive at the same time, and that was I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, we were definitely trying to sag there, and you were just popping it over the top.
Yeah, here's the right.
Which is actually what Showdown did to you guys the point before, just a few high throws. But yeah, we were definitely trying to...
Yeah, here is the saggy kind of...
That's right, we're trying not to chase you so much. Yeah, you're doing some good ejections, though. I mean, the thing is, when offense is clicking, which both teams were clicking, it's very hard for D to get ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's like somehow there's some momentum, and that group and that chemistry is like on, and it's really tough to break that.
And it's almost like, who's going to be the one who loses concentration? Which team is the one that's going to feel the pressure? Okay, 1919. It must be getting close. I wish we could see the clock on the...
Yeah, I know. It's tough to get that clock synchronized, I think, on the live stream and the board. So I think that's the reason it's not on.
They could just put a little a camera on the clock, couldn't they?
Yeah, that's true. I guess that could be a way to do it.
That was our first O mistake for a while.
I think that was Kat Smith with a D, and then Kat Smith, who also had a really great game this game with the disc right now. Unfortunate turnover, but she did have a great game.
It's got to be tiredness at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when your legs don't want to bend because they're so tired.
Yeah, it's getting to be that point.
Because we've had about sort of...
And then it's sometimes it's like that loss of concentration by one team, and then that kind of snowballs to
I was going to say,
some errors, mental and physical errors by both teams, and then we have a little bit of a struggle and back and forth.
Right, because there's been about 10 points where there hasn't been a single error, and then we've just had 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think we're...
It's funny because I remembered us trailing. I thought we were 1 down most of the time.
Yeah, I can't exactly remember how this... maybe we both teams thought we were... I definitely feel like we were trying to play catch-up a lot, which I think, we were down for some portions of the game. Like, towards the end of the game, it definitely felt like there was some amount of pressure of, we have to score this 0 point and get this break, and there was a lot of that kind of thought. I think it's it's tough to be mentally tough in the end stage of the game.
Did you feel, I don't know how many family or friends you had in the crowd personally, but did you feel the pressure of your own friends and family in the crowd?
I don't think so. I had quite a few people out there from work and family as well. My mom was out there. I think I really enjoy that. I really enjoy getting to sort of demonstrate our sport to people either who don't get to watch it that much or things like that.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think I personally felt that, but
because obviously we were visiting, we flew in, and so that was a very close D. That was a very close interception.
Yeah, that was almost
just going to break because it's 2020 at this point, and I'm pretty sure the fourth quarter was almost finished. And I remember that miss, that overthrow, and I remember thinking that might be it.
Yeah, so I think that is the break. Oh no, it's not.
And it's not quite.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember I remember a few moments of hearing the crowd. It's kind of interesting how you can tune some of that stuff out when you're out there. It's I heard just enough of it, I think, for the excitement of it, but not so much that it was distracting, if that makes sense. How about you? How were you feeling about it?
No, I mean, you concentrate on what you're doing, don't you? And so, those distractions really do fade into the background. Oh, I also remember that D.
Yeah.
My heart was in my mouth.
Yeah.
She took such an early leap that I was...
Yeah.
But I should have known because Sharon's got very high ups, but...
Yeah, she's definitely got the ups for it. And we go for the same shot there.
That's right.
I had forgotten that that's kind of how that sequence went down.
And that's Michelle Arsenault with the second D.
Second D.
She unfortunately will not be returning either, which is a real loss actually, because she's a fantastic player. She's recently married. So correct me if I'm wrong. Was the
I
player?
think this was the beginning of overtime. So
so we're in quarter five.
Quarter 5 now. So yeah.
I was just trying to remember the rules.
I think we flipped again, and whoever won got to decide whether to take it or defer. And it's a certain period of time is the first overtime. I think it's like 4 minutes or something like that.
Yes, that rings about 4 minutes.
Yeah. What do you remember? What y'all talked about at the break between fourth quarter and overtime? I don't remember, but
I don't think we even talked that much. I think we probably just because I think we were all quite tired. But I think we were probably remembering the bits that were working well, and it was just trying to slow those handlers down and just trying to slag and clog in your lanes predominantly and just keep a clean offense. I think that was the main conversations, and it was a lot of agreement. Like, yes, that's what we should do.
yeah, I certainly do remember the intensity. Like, it was still just so, like, we sustained that intensity for so long over the course of this game that included these overtimes. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm impressed with us.
Yes,
that we were able to do that.
It was such a slog, really. And I my feeling was always, we've just got to catch up to them. We've got to score one more just to stay in it. We've got to stay in it so we can extend it because we're behind. That was like the deep feeling coming from me personally, but also from all of us.
Yeah, I feel similarly that we had sort of the same kind of energy. So that's really interesting.
Well, in these stages, I think you were trading up and we were chasing you.
A little bit of dancing here in the handler space. But Mo gets open.
Yeah, so again, you go up by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we just knew that we had to get close. We had to draw at least.
Yeah.
Had to tie it up just to get that extra time.
Wow, that was a really incredibly body-controlled attempt at that D. I don't think I noticed that at the time. But that was a really good highlight of that. Just like going up but not making any contact. And
yeah.
That was really nice.
Which I think it's officially in the rules. If there's any dangerous play this year, you get pulled out of the game.
It's a whiff-tiff style dangerous play, receiving foul process this year. So, which I like. I like that focus on body control.
But it's good to show that it's valued and that there are consequences if you're not.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember sweating at this point. Oh.
Yeah.
You get all the feelings come rushing back.
I know.
I'm feeling tense and concerned.
Definitely feel all of this anxiety right now walking the disc up.
I was going to say, you're holding the disc. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, all right, I hope I can get this off the line here. I think I can. I can make this happen.
So if that throw had connected and landed in the end zone for the catch, then we were out. We would have been finished.
Right.
So I think at this point we have to score this one, don't we, to stay in?
I think so. I think this is that point. Oh, I think that was kind of a weird thing that happened, I guess. don't remember exactly. Had our coach called a timeout, and it just didn't get. As we just got the disc back. I think that's maybe what happened. It's like we made several passes, but our coach had called timeout before I had thrown it, so it went back.
So it went back.
Yeah.
And then we changed the teams.
Yeah.
And we changed the teams because we were allowed to after the timeout. So we have our D-line again.
Team. Right. Yeah, I think,
well spotted.
There were a couple different times during the season where our coach fairly definitely, saved me specifically from creating a turnover by using that strategy.
Oh, I remember that moment. I was totally gassed.
Yeah.
I just hit the wall.
I think we had a lot of people on that field feeling that same feeling. It
was a really nice throw too, where you curve around away from the defenders so they can't get it in.
It was a really nice throw. Yeah. Because we were pretty much right there, and any sort of slight inside on that would have allowed you to get a D. So
23-21, that really felt like that was too far to come back from at that point.
Interesting.
So we got 8 seconds on the clock. And now it's 23-22.
With the stoppages and how those work, it's sort of interesting. It feels like basketball in a way. It's like you kind of have some amount of time for big huck plays, especially.
Right. That's at least Frankie coming in the back. So there's 8 seconds to try and tie up the game to stay in it. So Dre went for a roller to make sure that the clock was stopped. That's why she went for that, which is really good that we knew that rule. That's actually me on the mark coming up and Mo coming for the disc.
I think the clock is supposed to come in on the throw here. Yeah.
I mean,
incredible.
It's got to be the craziest play of all time.
It's like the crazy super IO backhand after catching a block. And
so on the line, we just said, okay, Dre said, I'm going to do the roller, get the clock stopped. Bex, you go down, put the hardest mark on you can, and let's just go for it. And that's pretty much what happened. Michelle Arsenault streaking deep, ready for whatever came up, and Dre just launching that IO. And I think, that we've cut out the time, but I think at this point, everyone was just so gobsmacked that we'd managed to equalise at this point. And we had to flip again, didn't we?
So
I think we had to flip it again at this point.
Maybe.
It's just getting crazy.
Yeah, just crazy things, and the disc up in the air in the craziest of manners.
I'm pretty sure the captains had to meet after that last time and
flip for possession again.
Yeah.
This year, I think it just switches. So whoever...
Oh yeah, the point book on the lefty.
Yeah, that was a lefty pass attempt by a righty thrower.
It was an unusual error, actually, because she'd been playing solidly. Unusual. But it was a really long game, so by this point...
For sure, low catch. Was the sudden death final point there. Yeah, I think there were so many emotions here towards the end of this game. It was like, okay, how does this work again? What are we doing? And okay, we're meeting back in the set. We're flipping again. All of these things kind of happening that we were not used to. And then really, the sudden death.
Really,
so
the torch made the first mistakes just before the end of overtime, which so you managed to go ahead. And then through that crazy set of 8 seconds, we managed to pull it back. And then the one error on the lefty backhand provided the opportunity, didn't it? I mean, it's such small margins.
Sure. Yeah, such small little parts where there were errors that, with not a lot of time left, hard to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, one of probably the most exciting games I've probably ever been a part of. I mean,
totally agree.
I mean, it's harder to be out in front right at the end, which obviously you were. I mean, how did the team feel afterwards?
I think, we were a bit in shock about how everything kind of ended. It was like, there was a little bit of confusion about the clock too. So it was like, oh wait, could we have just held it? Would that have worked? Like, what did we do wrong? I think there was a lot of sort of like that sort of like instantaneous, like, oh, we were ahead, and like, how did we let this happen? But yeah, like you said, I think super small margins and some back and forth, and that, just happened to be how it ended. And I think, overall, I feel like we were all still very positive about the whole experience. It was just sort of like a little bit heartbreaking how it ended for us.
Yeah. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were in shock that we somehow managed to pull it off. I mean, it was shocking. It was a shocking chain of events right in those last 2 minutes.
Yeah, but super, like, spectacular highlight of our play to all the fans that were out there. I think, everybody that I talked to afterwards was, they were just so excited that they were able to be a part of it and watch the game and, like, be, on the edge of their seats for so much of it. So, yeah, we created something really great here, and looking forward to, really looking forward to seeing, our rematch. Finally, we get a rematch.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Saturday, I mean, we'll see if it's going to be windy or still, but I hope that we both bring it in that same way, because the quality was so high, as I said. And I think if we manage to do that, both teams, then it's just going to be another set of fireworks, isn't it? I'm really excited.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Well, it's been super fun watching this with you, Angela, and hearing
it's been really great.
Hearing that actually we had a pretty similar experience.
Yeah, it's been really terrific. Maybe we will get to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. And, well, travel safely.
See you on Saturday.
And see you on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thanks so much, Angela.
Talk to you soon.